So now that we know what version of PowerShell works with each version of Windows, it's time for you to get PowerShell if you don't already have it on your computer. In this short video, I'll browse to one of the links shown in the last section and download PowerShell to my computer. In my case, I have Windows 10, which comes with PowerShell 5 pre-installed, but I figure it will help to still be able to show you an example of how to get PowerShell downloaded to your computer. If you have Windows 7, 8, or 10, you most likely already have some version of PowerShell installed on your computer. However, you may not have the latest version. For those of you that already do have PowerShell installed and you want to know what version you currently have, you can use the following PowerShell command. I'm just going to go ahead and open up PowerShell, and I'm going to use the command ps version table .ps version. Now, if this command doesn't make sense to you currently, don't worry about it at all. We'll cover more later in the course. For now, if you type this in and hit enter, you'll see what the current version of PowerShell is on your computer. As you can see, since I'm running Windows 10 with all the latest updates, I've got PowerShell version 5. Now, all these numbers after it are really just updates that have come out to version 5, so technically it'd be version 5.1. For now, you don't really need to worry about that, but again, for those of you that do have PowerShell installed already, this is a quick way to see what version you're currently running. So now I'm going to switch back to my PDF here, and I'm just going to hit the link for PowerShell version 5 that we saw in the last video. Once I click that, it's going to take me to Microsoft's site where I can download the Windows Management Framework version 5.0. You may need to scroll down. It looks like Microsoft has some nice large ads on their site now. But if I scroll down, I see the Windows Management Framework 5.0. And again, just a reminder, PowerShell was added to the Windows Management Framework as it's a suite of tools for managing Windows computers. So it made a lot of sense for Microsoft to include PowerShell as part of the Windows Management Framework. Now, there's a brief description of everything that's included in the framework, and the most important one to us is, of course, Windows PowerShell. Some other things to look at on this page, though, are the details section. If I go to the details section, I can see all the file names. These are the different files I could possibly download to install PowerShell. The main reason I want to go over this is because this can be a very confusing piece. So notice here we have these file names, W2K12-KB83 or KB3134759. This can make it real difficult because when I go to download, it's going to show me all these files. How do I know which one I need? Well, what we need to do is look at these names and figure out what it actually means. So the first part of the name identifies what version of Windows this one's for. So for example, this first one is for Windows 2012, 2K12. The next one down is for Windows 7 and Windows 2008. The next one down below that just says Windows 7. So we can figure out from the beginning part what version of Windows that particular file is for. But what gets more confusing is I have two of them here that say Windows 7. How do I know which one I should use? To figure that out, we need to go to the last part of the name here, right before the MSU part. MSU is just a Microsoft installer file. It's this x64 and x86 that we need to focus on. The difference between the two, x64 is a 64-bit version of Windows, x86 is a 32-bit version of Windows. If you need to find out what version of Windows you currently have installed, the easiest way is to either open up My Computer, or you can hold down the Windows key on your keyboard, the one that looks like a little Windows symbol, and hit E. That does the same thing. It opens up the File Explorer, also in the past referred to as My Computer. This is where you can see things like downloads, documents, pictures, videos. But what we want is this PC. Now, depending on the version of Windows you're running, it might be called this PC, it might be called My Computer. Either way, once you find it over here on the left, you need to right-click on it If you regular click on it, or left click, it's just going to show you these options for the drives and folders on your computer. But if you right click on it, you'll get this menu. And what we want is the option all the way at the bottom, Properties. What this Properties window does is it shows me what version of Windows I'm running. So we can see here that I'm running Windows 10 Professional. So we know I'm running Windows 10. If you're running Windows 7, Windows 8.1, whatever version of Windows that you may be running should show up here. The next piece of the puzzle was that last bit where we need to figure out if am I running a 32-bit or 64-bit version of Windows. To do that, I go a little bit further down under the System section and I find System Type, 64-bit operating system, x64 based. So this tells me that I'm running the 64-bit version of Windows 10. So on your machine, you need to find the version of Windows and whether it's 64 or 32-bit. Once we've got that information, I'm going to close these out. Now we can make a better informed decision on which file it is that we need to download. Before we get to that though, let's look down a little bit further. This shows us the pieces that come along with this package, so parts of the Windows Management Framework. We also have the system requirements, which is important, and this mirrors what I showed you in that document earlier. I have Windows Server 2012 R2, Windows Server 2012, 2008 R2, Windows 8.1, or Windows 7 with Service Pack 1. So those are the versions of Windows that are supported for the Windows Management Framework 5 or PowerShell version 5. Also note, you need to have the .NET Framework 4.5 or above. If you need to install that, go ahead and click on Installing the .NET Framework and it will lead you through how to install the correct version of the .NET Framework on your computer. The last piece we have down here is install instructions. The install instructions does not have a whole lot of information, but you can click on the word release notes here to get more information. This breaks it down even better for you. Here's the versions of Windows. Here's the downloads for those specific versions of Windows. So this breaks it in a little bit easier for you. This also has the instructions on how to install PowerShell version 5. So this should give you all the information you need for downloading and installing it. I'm going to go back. I'm back on my page. So I'm going to hit the download button now. And here's where I get to choose which one I need. In my case, I have Windows 10, so I don't need this. So I'm just going to pick one. I'll just pick the first one here. I'll go to Next. And then down here at the bottom, oh, my browser blocked a pop-up. I'm going to say always allow since I trust Microsoft. That's of course personal preference. And here we go. Do you want to open or save the Windows 2012 version of PowerShell? I'm going to just say save. Alright, in our next video, we'll go ahead and walk through installing PowerShell. I'll see you there.